You're tuned in to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast.
Welcome back to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast, where we are building connections, showcasing the impressive, and inspiring movers and makers. I'm your host, Lenore, and this episode is brought to you by Refining Clean, a unique hand sanitizer by Health Fairs Direct. There's no better pedigree of hand sanitizer anywhere else. So there's no better time than now to focus on your career development, and the Path to Promotion Learning and Development Academy will help you do just that. So Ineke McMahon, the director to the Path to Promotion, joins us on this episode to share their range of courses that caters to literally everybody, whether you're just starting out or you're really looking to take the next step in your career. She has almost 20 years of executive recruitment experience, so she's definitely the girl to help you out, and I'm ready to hear so much more. So Ineke McMahon, welcome to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast.
Thanks so much for having me today.
So can you explain more to me about the Path to Promotion and the courses that you offer?
Sure. So the Path to Promotion is an online learning and development academy that's basically targeted at helping people to get ahead in their careers. So we have a number of courses on offer. Our most popular course, or our signature course, is called Success Accelerator. And that's really about helping people to take the next steps in their career as quickly as possible. So I think that there was a real gap in the market, internationally, in fact, in that, if you start to Google career development or courses like that, you can do a course on project management, or you can do a course on personal branding, or you can do a course on getting better at finance skills. But there isn't really much in the market to teach you about what steps you actually need to take to be seen as a good employee, to be seen as an up-and-coming rising star, and to get promoted and salary raises and all of the things that you would want as quickly as possible. So that's basically what our Success Accelerator course does. It's 6 modules. It's a mix of online and coaching calls. So it's video workbook, video workbook, video workbook. And then you get access to myself and my co-founder, Amber Renee, as well in coaching calls. But basically the 6 steps really teach you how to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and how that will help you to position yourself in terms of your next steps, discover those limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and get crystal clear on your career aspirations. The Success Accelerator will teach you how to put in place an exact plan with your manager on what you need to deliver in 3, 6, 12 months in order to be seen as successful, and also some insider techniques on salary negotiation, as well as building a career development plan, a skills assessment, a skills gap assessment on what you're doing now and where you want to be. And we also teach you how to secure and work with mentors, which is a really, really important part in getting ahead of your careers. And then the final modules are really about raising your own profile. So that's both internally and externally through some really fantastic skills like presentation skills, getting profiled in the media and things like that. So that's the key course. We then have a couple of other courses as well that are sort of smaller versions of that. So one that's specifically about building your profile and networking and those types of things. And then we've got another one that's specifically around performance management frameworks. And then given my 20 years of executive recruitment experience, we've actually got one for line managers, which is about how to recruit better talent. So those are the 4 key offerings that we have at Path to Promotion.
You literally touched upon absolutely everything and anything I want to touch upon. So can we break some of that down? First, I want to know, is it okay? Do you think it's beneficial or it's not beneficial to always tell your boss and your employer, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it, versus giving them a no?
Depends on what they're asking you to do. I tend to be in the camp of more yes, now what was the question? Because when you're getting opportunity to work on bigger projects, more complex things, better visibility across the organization, I think that's always really good for your career. If the thing that they're asking you to do is outside of your boundaries in terms of your personal life or your ethics, then it's a firm and very hard no. If you want to get ahead in your career, you do have to be the sort of person who's prepared to put their hand up and go the extra mile and do the extra things. But that's not to mean that you have to work 100-hour weeks or I think it's very important to clearly communicate up the line what you can and you can't do. So if you're the sort of person who says yes to everything and then you actually can't get the work done, you're doing your personal brand more damage than good. But if they're saying, hey, can you do this? And you're saying, sure, absolutely I can. Just letting you know for the next 3 days, I'm going to be flat stick with this particular project, which is the priority. If you're happy for me to get to that on Friday, then I'm happy to do it. Oh no, we need it done sooner. Well, then you're going to need to ask somebody else to do it. So it's a fine line between balancing expectations and also being prepared to put yourself forward for opportunity.
And I think you just did that beautifully. So thanks for clearing that up for maybe my own personal uses. Thank you. You did mention salary negotiations and promotions and things like that. Is now an okay time to ask for that? Or because I feel like with this whole pandemic and COVID-19 nationwide, worldwide, everywhere, that maybe it's not the right time to say, hey, can I have a couple extra dollars an hour?
It is and it isn't. I actually got interviewed, I think it was the New York Post recently interviewed me around exactly that. Is it an appropriate time to ask for a salary raise? And I think, if you're in a casual role where everybody's on the same hourly rate and so on, that's probably not the best time. But I don't think there's ever a time where it's not appropriate, particularly if the company's made a bunch of redundancies, your role's now 4 times as big as it was before, you're working much bigger hours, the stress and the expectation on you is significantly higher. It might not be that you ask for a salary raise immediately, but it might be a conversation that you have with the boss to say, look, I acknowledge that the company's having issues with its bottom line at the moment and cash flow is the most important thing. I need you to acknowledge that these are the extra responsibilities that I'm taking on at this time. Can we put in place a plan to ensure that as the market picks back up, the business gets more, solvent, whatever it is, that this is the salary I would expect for the role that I'm currently doing. So I would be using it as a forward negotiation. But definitely, if your role and responsibilities are increasing, you can definitely ask for more money, and if not now, in the future.
You make that sound so easy. You said it so beautifully. And I feel like if that was me going in there, I would stutter, look around like I'm looking around now and not actually give the eye contact and strong confirm, like, this is what I want. So your course is off of that, right?
It's really sad. Salary negotiations are something that I'm really passionate about, particularly for women. And I say that because we all know that there are pay parity gaps in pretty much every industry across the world for men and women. And I'm going to say something that quite regularly gets me booed and hissed at sometimes when I'm speaking at events, but it's partly our own fault. And the reason is that I think I saw some horrible, startling statistic that from salary.com, which is an American survey, that 33% of people in their performance reviews don't mention salary. And of that 33%, 80% of them are women. So a third of people going into their performance reviews just don't even talk about their salary, which is terrifying. And then a further 40% of people might mention it, but don't ask for an increase. And so it's only 30% of people in their salary reviews who ask for an increase. Now, I think that's probably right, that you don't want to ask for a salary increase every year, and not every person should be asking for a salary increase. But the fact that 30% don't even bring it up in a performance review, and that's your one time a year that you've got time to actually talk about that, your remuneration, it's really the only, it is the appropriate time frame. And the other thing that women don't do is they don't research. So I'll give you an example of a story. I've been in executive recruitment for 20 years now. And so I would, when running a full desk, have, let's say 10 roles that I'm advertising across, the very Indeed and whatever. And so I would get a minimum of a call per day of people saying, hey, I see you're recruiting for a CFO for this company, I'm currently in that sort of role. I'm not looking for a new job at the moment, but my performance review is coming up soon. Can you let me know what the salary range is on offer? Because I'm just doing some research about my market worth. So in 20 years of recruitment, minimum of 1 call a day from people calling me to ask about salary. How many calls do you think that I've received from women, or what percentage of calls would you say were women?
Are you going to tell me like less than 10?
0.
0?
0.
These men.
Until this year, 0 times has a woman called me to say, hey, what am I worth, going into my performance review. So, for those ladies that are listening, you've got to do your research, get on the phone to recruiters, get on the phone to adverts that are up at the moment, and find out what you are worth before you walk into a salary negotiation. Please do this.
And you, with your 20 years of experience, I want to start from the beginning though. When you look at resumes and cover letters, is there something specific that pops out to you that makes you say, this is the candidate that I think I'm going to pass along?
That's a really hard question.
Maybe I just want to know because, like, you know what I do? We were actually talking about this before we got on the Zoom call, and it's do they look at all those things as a recruiter? Do you look at every single thing on the resume? Do you look at the cover letters? Like, what is actually the protocols these days? Because I have no idea.
The truth is, I think most recruiters don't read cover letters unless the resume is good.
Okay.
So if the resume is excellent, you would make the time to read the cover letter. If the resume is not good, you don't bother. And again, another statistic, this one's from the Harvard Business Review. Most hiring managers will look at a resume for an average of 8 seconds before deciding if they're going to look at it longer or put it in the no pile. So you've got 8 seconds to make a good first impression. So I guess the thing that I would advise is to really stay away from super generic bullet points. So one of the examples I often use is if you're a sales representative, for example, don't put things on your resume that are obvious for that role. So don't say sales representative, responsibilities, bullet point, calling on customers, managing a sales territory, selling products. That's every sales representative in the entire world. So what you want to do to make your resume stand out from others is put as much quantifiable information as you can in the shortest period of time. So if I was a sales representative, I would make my first bullet point something along the lines of managing a geographical territory from Alabama to here with 572 customers and an annual sales revenue of 1.2 million. Budget was 1.2 million and I achieved 1.5. This is what I do. These are the numbers and here's where I've overachieved. Bullet point 1. Even at lower level roles, if you're going for a retail role, don't write serving customers, smiling, write these were the KPIs we were measured against. This is how I performed.
And when
Does that make sense?
Yes. So when we got that process, now say you have the interview. What advice and tips do you have for when somebody actually sits in front of that recruiter or that hiring manager? Is it frowned upon if I cross my legs? Are you going to tell me that I'm closed off? I don't know.
Well, I think one of the most important things to do when preparing for an interview is to do your preparation work and actually spend time thinking about what your answers might be to potential questions. So for our viewers, we've got a YouTube channel. It's Path to Promotion. So type in Path to Promotion in YouTube and you can have a look. We've got a whole bunch of free resources there for people, particularly around how to prepare for interviews, how to answer interview questions, how to sit, how to stand, what to wear, what not to wear, all of that sort of stuff. So it's hours of content. But my big highlight points would be 1, you've got to prepare. So that's sitting down with your resume and really looking at what are the things you did and how did you do it and what were the results that you achieved so that you can spin them off nice and smoothly without stuttering or having to think for examples. And you really need to have a look at the job that you're going for and have a look at what are they looking for in this person and what might they ask me and then practice. Sit in front of a mirror and practice. It feels awkward, but the people who look and sound the best on the day are often the ones who are hired. And sadly, that's not necessarily the person who's going to be the best employee. It's the person who interviews best. So as a recruiter, I think it's my job to often teach the client not to choose the person who looks and sounds best in the day, but to look for evidence. But most hiring managers only hire once or twice a year, so they're not very good at interviewing. So it's up to you to be as polished and professional as you can in the interview to help you get that job.
I'm not even in an interview right now, and I feel like I'm about to sweat from what you were just saying. It's getting a little hot in here. I'm like, is this going to be me the next time? I haven't got on an interview, like as you said, I couldn't even tell you, like a couple years. I'm trying. Yeah. It's been a good amount of time. So thinking about it makes me nervous now.
Well, do you know, for me, that's actually something that I tend to get excited about. If I see a candidate who's a bit sweaty and nervous and twitchy and so on, I think, you haven't had an interview in a long time. That's great. That's someone who I'm excited about because it means that you've been good at your job or you've been approached for opportunities or, the fact that you haven't had an interview actually to me would be a positive, but most hiring managers don't feel that way. They just go, they didn't interview well. So there's been many times where I've seen someone who's very nervous in an interview and really pulled out of them what they've done and how they've done it, and discovered that they're an absolute superstar. They're just not good at interviews, and then taught them how to present to make sure that they can get their key job. So don't feel bad. That just means you're a good employee. You're not someone who's been to 100 interviews.
Yes. I don't know how to BS my way through.
Yeah, totally.
So, Ineke, we can reach out to you at thepathtopromotion.com. You can also email her at info@thepathtopromotion.com. Check her out on Facebook, Ineke Career, INEKE Career, CAREER. Also on Instagram at Ineke McMahon, INEKE MCMAHON, as well as Twitter. You got Ineke Recruit, INEKERECRUIT, for those listening and that need to spell, because I'm not one that needs that. For sure.
It's the weirdest name ever. So thanks for that, parents.
Yes, I have to spell it out, because I don't think I'd even type it in correctly. So before we get off today, Ineke, any last minute advice you have for individuals who are really just trying to take that next step in their career?
Yes, sign up to the Path to Promotion Success Accelerator course. That's step number 1. That's the first thing I would do. Pretty much guaranteed to be promoted within the next 12 months if you do that. But I guess my key big tip would be, you cannot underestimate the importance of mentors and having ambassadors in the business who know what you do and how good you are and who can promote you to others. So if you don't know how to get mentors, go have a look at our website. If you do have a mentor and you want some more advice on how to get better at that, feel free to reach out.
Thepathtopromotion.com. Ineke McMahon, thank you so much for joining us today. That's a wrap on another episode of the Brand Ambassador Select podcast. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss one. More at brandambassadorselect.com, and we will see you next time.